Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Bowery Ballroom, and today we are here with Chris of the Atomic Bitchwax. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having the time to come do this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a kick-ass lineup with you guys, Black Label Society, and Conan. You're well into the record cycle for Force Fields, which came out at the end of 2017. So it's been almost 2 years. So you have like a conclusion on this record cycle and how everything's been with it?
Yeah, so far so good. I think we've actually done 5 tours for this record already. So
Wow.
between the U.S. and Europe, Canada, South America. So we really covered some ground on this one. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Depending on like the continent or like the region that you're touring on, have you noticed like different reactions or different types of crowds or?
Well, South America was awesome because we had never been there before, and there was a lot of people that wanted to see us. And let me get that. Sorry. And and then Europe is always cool because it's they never gave up on rock so much as like the American side did. Like the people there, they like dance music and rock music, so they just want to go and have a good time. So your crowd is instantly doubled on a Friday and Saturday night because they're just going out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here it's a little bit different because people either like dance music or they like rock music, so your crowds are a little more segregated.
Yeah. And sometimes, in New York City, like, you're playing a show right now on a Monday, people are going to be like, hey, come on, hurry up, I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the good thing about playing opening the show tonight because I think we go on like at 7:30 tonight, and then we flip flop with Conan and we do 8:30 tomorrow night.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
beautiful. Keeps it interesting. Now, what I'm curious about with the making of each Atomic Bitchwax album, do you tend to have like a formula? Do you like to stay with a certain sound, or do you like to experiment with each album and take a new approach?
I think they all start out the same basic way to where, like at home on my computer, I'll just have like a library of rock drum beats that I just loop, and you could slow them down, speed them up, and I'll just find a groove that I like, and I'll start playing along to it. And then when I find a riff I like, I'll just press record really quick, and then I'll make like 10 of those, and then I'll bring them to band practice and be like, oh, I got like 10 riff ideas. So we'll try each one, and whenever one like feels good and starts to stick, then we'll start building the song around that. So that's typically the way that we go about it. Yeah.
I've noticed that there's a lot of melody in your music, but there's also a lot of rhythm in it. And being that you say each song kind of like starts off the same, do you consider yourself more of like a rhythm-driven band, or do you tend to focus on like melody?
I don't know. That's kind of hard. It's a little bit of both because you never know where one riff's going to take you. Sometimes you'll think, oh, this would be a great song, for vocals or something, and it ends up being an instrumental. So, and where the guitar player just kind of takes the vocal spot more or less, to where he's playing lead from beginning to end instead of singing from beginning to end. And I like all kinds of music too. So it's it's really whatever the vibe is of that. We don't try to like sound like one thing intentionally, and that it's cohesive at all is amazing to me because we really all three of us have different influences and stuff. I like a lot of pop music. I like a lot of metal too, but I mean, I like bands from Metallica to Devo, so you know what I mean. There's a lot in between that,
You cover a lot of ground just between those two. Now, when you're playing your material live, do you try to execute it exactly how it sounds on the album, or do you like to make the live experience for your listeners a little bit different than what they would experience just from listening to the album on their headphones?
It always starts off that we try to do the record version, and the only things that really ever change is maybe the lead section might be longer for a live show, or sometimes we'll change the key, maybe like a half step down, just so it's easier to sing a set night after night. You know what I mean? Because on the record you only have to sing it once, so your voice isn't as labored when you're when you're recording the song. But then when you're out there touring and you're screaming at the top of your lungs every night, it starts to wear fast. So sometimes we'll just change the key of the song like a half step down.
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I feel like, live, you get the most organic feel of the band. Like, I heard a fan say, I almost want to hear a band kind of like fuck up a little bit. It adds to the fun.
You would love us then, because yeah. I mean, we try really hard to play as accurately as possible. But the songs tend to be a little bit faster than the records too. So I think if I had to define what the sound is we play like to our maximum ability, right to the edge of where it's about to fall apart. And if it doesn't fall apart, that's what we sound like. You know what I mean? Just right on the edge of it.
Interesting. Now, as a lot of people know about you guys, that all you guys are also playing in Monster Magnet, and I'm curious to, because I think there are plenty of I feel like Monster Magnet fans could really appreciate the Atomic Bitchwax and vice versa. Are you all in like a different mind frame or state of mind when playing with this project as opposed to Monster Magnet, or is there kind of like in the end, it's playing your instrument, so you kind of have a usual go-to playing and songwriting mode?
Well, with Monster Magnet, it's very very song based, and Dave has a vision for what he wants the band to sound like, and he's very hands on coordinating what he wants to hear from each instrument, and and there's not a lot of room for freestyling or leads or unless that's what he wants. So he'll basically say, play it like the record as much as possible. And then while we're rehearsing, if he hears something that he wants to add or to take away, that's usually what he'll do. But I mean, the songs are a lot more, they're vocal driven, not guitar driven so much.
Okay.
So, well, with Bitchwax, then it's just it's the guitar stuff first, and then the vocals are second.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of bands are very rock driven. I had no idea that Monster Magnet was because the vocals are great, but like there's great riffs and groove in their songs.
Yeah, I mean Dave's fantastic. I mean, he's he can write music, he can write lyrics. He's a showman. I mean, the guy's got it all. You know what I mean? I love playing with the guy, and actually, I've been with the band for maybe 6 years now, and it really improved my own songwriting just through playing his songs. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, oh, that's why he does it like that. And you see what works and what doesn't work. And so like our last couple records, I mean, really our whole thing just got so much better because of, being influenced by that band and just the art of songwriting. Dave mastered it years ago. So it's whether he realizes it or not, I really look up to him. As like more of a mentor, you know what I mean? But we're good friends too, so,
And you kind of just answered my next question, because all of you guys were in multiple projects. Like I think Riot God was one project, and I forget, like the Cycle of Pain, I think is the other.
Yeah, Bob plays drums in that with JD from Black Label.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can like all of you guys working with other projects help maybe influence the sound, or even just bring a breath of fresh air to the Atomic Bitchwax?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of the whole thing, is that everybody brings something special to the table. If you didn't, you wouldn't be in this band. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their trick, and so everybody puts throws their trick into the pot, and this is just what it turns into being. We're older guys. We've been playing a long time, and so we're pretty good at figuring out what's good and what's bad immediately after you start playing. You're like, that's not going to work, and we'll just dump it like immediately and go right to something else. We don't waste any time.
Awesome. And the final question I'd like to ask you is, and I always love asking this question, how do you know when a song is done? Is there a pinnacle moment that you have? Do you drop it after the second or third chorus? Like, how do you know this song is done? We don't need to add or take away anything else.
Well, when you're writing an actual record, I found that you have the bones of it, like you have the arrangement worked out already. You know that it's going to be riff, chorus, verse, chorus, lead, or whatever it is. We'll map that out, and then we'll record basic tracks doing exactly that. And now it's time to just like start peppering stuff on top of it. And the beauty about recording these days is with the computer, you can cut chunks out of it. You could put stuff back in. You could move stuff around, and so you didn't have that option with tape back in the day. I mean, you did to a degree because you could cut tape, but you had to get somebody that really knew what they were doing if you wanted to like chop a song up and move it around.
I feel like you needed a microscope to analyze that shit.
There's some guy. I mean, that's an art, and some guys are fantastic at it. But now with computer recording, the Pro Tools, and all that, it's it's almost too many options. You know what I mean? It's like you get too many different ways to move it around, and sometimes you can go past it, and you could hear it too, like when you've overproduced something, and then But what's great is because you could keep on backing up and go, okay, let's go back to that, let's go back to that. You're not stuck with it. Like again with tape, once you start cutting it apart, that's it. You know what I mean? You're stuck with it. But again, with the computer recording, you can try it this way, save it, try it another way, save it, listen back to all those different versions of it, and have a final one. And then what we'll end up doing is once we have that final thing, then we'll relearn the song the way that we did it on the record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think digital will ever sound as good as analog in the future, or?
I think it already does. I think it's just there's a lot of bands record at home and they don't have the super high-end professional digital recording stuff yet. But I mean, the price keeps coming down every single year. So, recording on tape now is cost more. You know what I mean? In a lot of places, it's difficult to find the tape. There's only a couple places in the world that still make the tape. I remember back in the 90s, like a reel was a 16-minute reel for a 24-track was maybe, I don't know, $80, and now it's like $300. You know what I mean? Just for 16 minutes of tape.
That's ridiculous.
You know?
So that can only make 3 songs, and if you're a progressive metal band like Pink Floyd, that's not even half a song.
That's right. That's right. Well, I don't think money's an issue for that band, but we have a label to give us a budget, and we wring every penny out of it, and usually end up going over. But we've been with the same label for years, and they've been really good to us, and they know that we're going to work the record too. A lot of bands, they'll get signed, they'll make a record, and they're younger guys. A lot of times the bands break up, guys quit, guys get married, guys move, and so it kind of leaves the label holding the bag for this record that they just paid all this money for, and no one's touring for it. You know what I mean? But I mean, last year we did 5 months of touring, so it's we keep going. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have to.
Of course, and people are always going to come out and see you. So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. It's going to be an awesome show here tonight. Is there just anything else after this run with Black Label Society that you would like to promote in terms of tours or new music?
Well, Magnet's got a tour, festival tour in Europe in July and August. And then when we come back from that, more than likely Bitchwax is going to go to Europe in the fall, like before Christmas.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll start recording a new record. So and this is already the second tour of this year. Magnet will be the third, and so we'll do 4 months this year, almost 5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are you should change your name from the Atomic Bitchwax to the Atomic Road Dogs.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky that I'm with a couple other guys that really want to do the same thing, so it makes it so much easier. No arguments, no drama. Yeah. It's just 3 guys in a van. We're a power trio. We show up, we play at the gig, we get back in the van and go to the next one. It's great.
I got to say, waiting outside to do this interview and talking with you and Bob and everybody, you guys are the chillest guys going. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through it all, so we know how to avoid all the pitfalls of touring. You know what I mean? We know, everything down to like where to park the thing. You know what I mean?
Well, in New York City, you'll never have that down. It's different every time.
Yeah. Today we lucked out. We got a good spot. But, you're absolutely right. Sometimes the loadouts are brutal.
Can't stay the same for Conan.
Yeah.
They're still looking for parking.
Oh man, and that would I'd consider that a pitfall. They have this giant van and a trailer, and trying to bring something like that into the city and parking it is next to impossible. Yeah. And so we really keep things lean and mean, and we put the gear in the van that we're driving in. We don't have a trailer or nothing like that. Like I said, we're just a 3-piece, so we don't really have that much gear. Yeah. We probably have more merch than gear. You know what I mean? So.
Thank God for like an artist like Aphex Twin, where it's like just him and his little turntable. But thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Everybody, we are here with the Atomic Bitchwax. Pick up Forest Fields if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time on Heavy New York.